Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this morning's video. We're going to have a look at the summer of 2015 this morning. We've done the first update already, of course, last month. This is the second update for the summer of 2015. Going to get around 8 long-range seasonal models together to see what they are showing. And there's some quite interesting models in there I can tell you about already. So stick around and you'll be able to see what the latest idea from these longer range models is for the summer of 2015. The first update wasn't very good. We did it last month, and you remember, I'm sure, it was a very unsettled looking summer indeed being predicted when we did it last month when we did the first update. So it'll be interesting to see how the models have changed as we go through into the second of 3 updates. The final update, of course, will be next month in May. That'll be the final and official Gazovi's summer 2015 forecast as well. So we're in the middle of a trilogy, really, of updates, and we'll see what it's showing in a sec. Before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at gazovis.com. Have browsing widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You'll be able to go for read those articles. Because you're going from Gazovis to where that article is, we get a revenue fee on what you're doing. Thanks so much for doing that. Also video ads on most of the page. They open out within the content. When you've watched them, they'll close up again. And just by doing that, you don't have to do anything else. You only have to click. Just sit there and watch it for around 20 seconds. And we get a revenue fee. So everyone's a winner on that. And thanks so much for getting involved. And thanks for doing that. It's paying for the website. Really allows me to sit here and talk to you via gazovis.com. So thanks so much for helping to support the website. The links to most of these long-range models can be found on the links page, so do check those out if you want to see these charts for yourself. And just really say enjoy the video. It's going to be quite a long video, so get a comfy chair, cup of tea, and a couple of biscuits. We're going to be here for a little while. So let's get on with it. We're going to start off with the Russian model. Now, the first couple of models that we've got, the Russian and the Japanese, only go out to July. So that's the caveat with these two. They don't cover the full summer period just yet. So this is temperature probability from the Russian model for May to July. British Isles is just here. And overall, a fairly cool signal there from the Russian model in terms of probability for the coming 3 months. We're generally average to cool, still a bit warmer to the east, but overall no signal there from a probability of a particularly warm summer, or warm early summer, I should say. Doesn't cover the full period, but no sign particularly warm early summer period on that one. If we have a look at the precipitation probability, it's coming out around average, so no real signal there, I don't think, for precipitation. But notice the probability is significantly wetter than average up over Scandinavia, so presumably there's some sort of trough up there, and presumably some sort of ridge around here, and that's why it's relatively cool, I think, because the flow would be going something like that, bringing the cool air down from the north and the northwest. So that starts us off anyway for the coming 3 months, and the first signal isn't all that great. Now, have a look at the Japanese model next. This is just going to be June and July. I'm not going to bother covering May, because of course that doesn't cover the summer period. So the first chart we're looking at here is the 500 millibar height anomaly for June. Now, I did the update for the Japanese 3 monthly update. Did a video for that a few days ago. I'm sure you saw it. I like to isolate out the Japanese model because there's so much information you can get with this model, and I haven't got time in these videos. We've got all the other models to go with it, sort of thing. I can't cover all the information you can get from the JMA in this update, so I like to isolate it out and do the update first. Anyway, this is the 500 height anomaly for June. We've got the ridge sitting out to the west of the country, and the jet stream going something like that, so it could be a relatively pleasant June coming up, actually, with high pressure relatively close to the country. The temperature probability isn't great. I'd expect that to be a bit warmer than that. It's coming out cooler than average, but I'm a bit all surprised on that's the 500 height. I'm going to explain this in the video that I did a few days ago. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually turned out warmer with that high pressure sitting just about. I suppose we could be putting down a northwesterly flow around that ridge, so that could be why it's relatively cool. But if that ridge was get any closer, it could be centred over the country. That would be really quite good. The rainfall probability is coming out a little bit drier than average. You would expect that, of course, with the high pressure sitting just to the southwest. Let's go on and have a look at July and see what it was showing for July. If you saw the update that I did a few days ago, you'll know that July was looking really quite pleasant indeed. Again, what we see for July is ridging closer. So this time it's all centred to the south. It's rather an odd chart. I didn't explain this in the video I did a few days ago. All of this yellow is sort of above average heights, and there's a lot of it down to the south. So whether this is a bit gone off on a tangent and it doesn't really know what's happening, I'm not sure. But anyway, the jet stream is coming through something like that. So more or less, excuse me, at least for the south of the country, on the mild side of the jet, and we're close to ridging down to the south. The temperatures are still nothing to write home about, really. I would expect that to be a bit better. Although I suppose if we're running the jet stream through the country, then it would be a westerly based bump, which of course in July is going to be relatively cool. But nevertheless, I would expect that to be a little bit better than that. And in terms of the precipitation, again, it's coming out a little bit drier than average. So for June and July, from a JMA point of view, precipitation is looking okay. It's not looking too bad at all. The temperatures are very modest, though. Rather cool couple of months there being signalled, and I'm not sure that really ties up with the rainfall probability or the rainfall forecast and the 500 millibar height anomaly. So I think the temperatures are probably a bit underdone. I expect that if it did come off like this, I expect the temperatures to be significantly warmer than that is showing. Right then, on to the Brazilian model next, and this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the summer. The rest of the models are all covering the full summer period. I've got to put that one in. So this is 500 millibar height anomaly for the summer, June to August. Blue is extrapolated to high pressure, and sort of red and yellow colours extrapolated to low pressure. This is always a little bit different to catch us out. What we see with this one is very similar to the JMA. Actually, which is a ridge through the central part of the Atlantic, high pressure is through there, and then a trough is set up to the east of the country, so the jet stream goes something like that. So very similar to what the JMA is showing. The ridge is relatively close, but being centred just out west of the country, it means we are at risk of sort of northerly, northwesterly influences. So probably not too bad in terms of rainfall. Could be a fair amount of dry weather, but temperatures again with that one would be quite modest. Having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly from NASA next, the experimental NASA model. This is rather an odd one. I'm not sure what we can make of this, but I think there's obviously some sort of ridging or above average heights through the central part of the Atlantic, and where we've got this white area just here, and it does extend into British Isles, presumably that's some sort of trough. So again, very similar actually to the other two models, very similar to JMA and the Brazilian. The jet stream presumably is going something like that. So again, probably not too wet because we've got ridging through the central Atlantic, but again, temperatures probably rather on the chilly side, if anything. And the temperature anomaly for the summer does back that up to some degree. The anomaly is coming out sort of average in those white colours, blue through the central part of the Atlantic. But you would expect to be in the yellows if it's going to be above average. So I think sort of near normal temperatures, relatively cool summer being predicted there. The precipitation anomaly, as is often the case with these charts, is coming out average, but I don't think it's got a particularly strong signal there for most of Europe actually. Yeah, that always a little bit weaker in terms of precipitation anomaly from this model. But if a ridge is sitting out to the west and a trough up to northeast, probably relatively dry. Wouldn't be a washout of the summer, but again, temperatures are a little bit on the modest side. Hoog Mandendal next. Now, these are always a little bit different, as I have to explain. These aren't, this isn't a model, what you're looking at here, or it's not a computer model. It's an analog-based forecast. So Hoog has looked at the sea surface temperature anomalies when he did this forecast in March. And then from those sea surface temperature anomalies, he sort of creates an analog compared to other years with similar sea surface temperature anomalies. In terms of the forecast going forward. So this is what we're seeing for the summer from Hoog Mandendal. We've got the trough of low pressure in the Atlantic this time, with ridging sort of up to the north and also to the northeast. Bit difficult stuff going on with that one, but I think overall that could be relatively warm summer. There's quite a bit of ridging up to the east and the northeast with this trough out to west. I think the flow could generally be coming up from the south, but that trough could be providing quite a lot of energy. So if it is warm, I would expect it to be really quite thundering. Temperature anomalies sort of back that up. It comes out warmer than average, so no problems there. In terms of the rainfall anomaly, this is the idea I was talking about. Got the low pressure out to west, so wetter than average conditions just to the west of the country. And again, I think we are bringing up sort of southerly winds here. So it's warm, there's plenty of heat going on with that, but also with that trough close to the west of the country would also be thundery as well. Would be bringing thundery bands in, and possibly some quite nasty storms likely on that one at times. That's a little bit different compared to all of the other output that we've looked at so far. And as I say, it's not a model, it is an analog based forecast. CFS V2 next. I did my CFS 6 months look ahead last week, and I'm sure you saw it was pretty grim if you want a decent summer. So we'll just whiz through this. I think we dwelt on the CFS enough last week, but this is the 700 millibar height anomaly for the summer. Some ridging up to the north around Scandinavia, bit of a trough out to the west, and the flow with that one is not all that far from Hoog Mandendal, but the ridging is further back away from us, and this trough is more influential. So overall, that's a, excuse me, again, that's a relatively unsettled summer being signalled there. The temperature anomaly is coming out very close to average, maybe even hinting at a little bit below average for western parts of Europe. The warmth appears to be in the northeast with that ridging. And, well, you'll not be surprised you saw the CFS 6 month look ahead. The rainfall anomaly is coming out wetter than average, and particularly wet down across France, interestingly. So presumably the jet stream is on a southerly track and doing something like that with a ridge up there and low pressure just sort of coming through here with the jet stream. So it's not a great signal from CFS V2 this month, and we saw it on the CFS 6 month look ahead that we did last week. I think that's probably about the worst of the models that we've seen. Now the Bayesian Climate Centre next. These are 500 millibar heights from the BCC. And blue extrapolating to low pressure. What it's doing here is sticking an area of low pressure in right across the country below average heights, ridging up to the north. The jet stream coming around with that trough of low pressure. So we're on the cool side of the jet there. We're under a trough of low pressure. That again is a pretty grim signal for the summer. So it's not great signals this month by any means. It's a little bit better, I think, so far, a little bit better compared to last month's update, but really, well, not a great summer being indicated by a lot of these models. The temperature anomaly is coming out, well, it's cooler than average in the north. It's a little bit milder than average down in the south. Overall, I think will probably come out about normal. The rainfall anomaly is average to above average. So an unsettled summer being signalled there, and relatively cool there from the Bayesian Climate Centre. The UK Met Office, these are sea level pressure charts, first of all, from the UK Met. This was a little bit different. We've got hints of a little bit of ridging here coming through the country, extending more to the north, and we've got weak pressure down to the south, interestingly. Could be quite an easterly summer on that one, and maybe the most unsettled conditions down in the south of the country, with relatively dry conditions up to the north. But temperature anomaly, nothing to write home about, really. About average, a little bit above average perhaps. But overall, nothing to get excited about with the temperature anomaly. The rainfall anomaly is coming out wetter than average, particularly for England and Wales, but above average generally for most parts of the country. So a little bit better with the temperatures there, and hints of a little bit of ridging perhaps for the north, but overall, again, the signal is for quite an unsettled summer. And then finally, we're at the end now, so we're nearly done, and this is the Jamstec IOD. We couldn't or couldn't have the Jamstec last month for the first summer update because the website, the Jamstec website, hadn't updated. It did update for March this month, and I did an update on it on the blog and also in a video a few days ago. For March, it was showing an unsettling cool summer, but we've got a change here for April. This is the latest update, hot off the press, only updated a couple of days ago. And look at this, it's coming out with a warmer than average summer, and that is a change on what it was showing last month in March, although we didn't use it for the March update, but in March it was showing a cool summer. And in terms of the rainfall anomaly, it's coming out drier than average, so that's why it's gone warmer. It's sending a ridge in across the country, and it's probably going something like that. So quite a bit of high pressure being hinted at there from the Jamstec, and that sort of allows the temperatures to come out warmer than average. That's probably the best of the lot. Other than Hugh Venador, which is quite warm but also thundery, I think that's the best of the whole bunch if you're looking for a warm and dry sort of summer. And it's a flip on what it was showing last month, which is quite interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what the Jamstec is showing next month for the final update. Otherwise, it's not been a great update. I don't think it's been as bad as it was last month. The first update was a real stinker, really, of an update. It's been a little bit better. There's a few hints there from one or two of these models, but at least it could come out relatively dry, if not particularly exciting with the temperatures. But overall, a pretty disappointing update. Again, it's a mixed bag, but I think the overall signal is for relatively cool temperatures. No real signal for rainfall, but not a great summer is the overall message from this second update, with the caveat that the Jamstec has flipped and looks very good. So we'll do the final update next month, and then I've got to do a forecast, of course. It'll be the GASOVIS Summer 2015 forecast based on these models next month. So come back for that. It'll be very interesting. It'll be the last Sunday in May. Do come back and see what it's showing next month. But that's all for now, and thanks so much for watching. Just to say, I've got a ENSO update coming up on the ENSO page this afternoon. There's been some interesting developments in the Pacific with El Nino, so come back for that this afternoon. But that's all for now from a second summer update. Thanks for watching.